Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday service of Now Creations. Just want you to know what a joy it is just to be with you. Don't have to really do much, just to be and to appreciate the beauty and the goodness that is within each one of us. Just a couple of announcements before we begin today. I want to cordially invite all of you to our Monday evening meditation from 7 to 8. It is just such a rich, wonderful, peaceful, happy evening. If you're able to join us Monday between 7 and 8, please do so. And tonight, this evening, Sunday, we'll be having our New Earth by Eckhart Tolle from 6 to 7:30 p.m. And good news, I touched that I think this week that my new book will be coming out, What They Know, 10 Insights from the Other Side, from near-death experiencers. I think you'll enjoy it immensely. Let's now begin. I'd like to begin by again thanking the many of you who have so enthusiastically responded to the series of teachings of not returning to the ego. Time to get rid of it. More and more of us, as we have moved beyond the ego, now enables me to do some teaching concerning on the next logical step, namely the primacy of love. Once we've been able to set aside the ego, we can truly move into the primacy of love, which is at the center of our being. Love is our primal energy. But like so many words and energies, it has had to endure lower, third dimensional expressions that often diminish its true power, beauty, and joy. So the goal of this teaching is to restore love to its position of primacy in our lives, thus enabling us to more steadily move forward in this energy, to renew ourselves, to renew humanity, the planet, and beyond. Let me just say, I believe this to be a foundational teaching. Please listen well, perhaps maybe take some notes. Before beginning to explain the primacy of love, let me briefly share with you an experience I had just before writing this teaching. My experience. Immediately before writing this talk, and I mean just a few minutes before, I had several things occurring all at once in my life, some of which were very, very challenging. As they occurred, I simply said to myself, just love what is occurring in each circumstance. As I said these words, just love what is occurring, I felt the energy of love flooding back into my consciousness very, very clearly. And immediately, the challenging energies dissipated and the opportunities of extending love into each of those occurrences became absolutely clear to me. This ability to bring the primacy of the love energy into our daily living is what I will now address. I will begin by focusing on 3 teachings on the primacy of love, proceed to explain what love is, and then proceed to understand our ability to hold this love as a conscious, consistent vibration. And then the last point, to be able to bring some other aspects of love into this teaching. Again, let me just suggest, this is a foundational teaching. It is a foundational teaching. First, 3 teachings on the primacy of love. The first one is the traditional teaching of Jesus. When he was asked by his disciples, what are the laws of life to follow? Jesus said, well, there's only 2. The first one is to love God with your whole heart, mind, soul, and strength. And then the second one, to love your neighbor as yourself. In Jesus's mind, These two teachings, love of God and love of neighbor, were the summation of all of the law and the prophets. I think Jesus accurately saw that love is the fulfillment of life. Such a beautiful teaching. A second source of the teaching about love is from Robert Monroe, especially noted in his book, The Ultimate Journey. I especially like to mention Robert Monroe because he came from a rather agnostic background, but clearly taught the primacy of love. He taught this primacy in two specific ways. The first one was his teaching concerning the qualities that human beings brought to the earth. After stating such things as thinking, emotions, and beauty beholding, Monroe then said, the biggest nugget, his term, the biggest nugget that humans brought to the earth is love. For Monroe, love is at the core of the self. Love is the highest vibration of life. It's interesting to see how Jesus and Monroe taught the same thing, especially when at the conclusion of what Monroe says is the great overview of life, the great overview of life, he unequivocally said, do all in love. His second teaching, do all in love. Let me now add a third teaching. Actually, it's a book title by Matt Kahn. The title of the book, Whatever Arises, well, love that. While this book has many wonderful examples, I feel that the title is the most moving part of the book. Deep within me, the title resonates. Whatever arises, love that. Whatever arises in my life, in your life, let us love that. This is exactly, I think, what I did when I was writing this talk. At the beginning, when I had all of those challenges, I simply said to myself, these things have arisen. Love them. I did. And immediately, the challenges turned into those opportunities, which I then responded to. I brought the energy of love to those situations, and then they reappeared as opportunities for growth for me, and certainly for the others who were involved. One last point before I proceed. Love works. Every time. Love brings results. Every time. That are uplifting to others and certainly to oneself. As I witness this energy of love working for me, it's quite clear to me that whatever arises, I will love that. Or as Monroe said, I will do it with love. Or as Jesus said, love is the fulfillment of life. Clear as a bell. So we are now ready for the second part of the teaching on the primacy of love. What is it? How do you access it? Love is so often misunderstood, or sometimes it's just hard to clarify because it does bear so many of those third dimensional energies that have a tendency to undermine its true primacy and its potency. So let's focus on what love really is. To do this, I will begin with a beautiful teaching from the Taoist classical book, the Tao Te Ching, and then apply it to the familiar concepts of light and love. We'll do the Tao Te Ching, then apply it to light and love. Again, you might want to take some notes. First, the Taoist concept. The Taoists have a beautiful teaching called Wu Wei. Wu Wei, W-U-W-E-I, which simply means do non-doing. Do non-doing. I'll repeat it again. Do non-doing. Essentially, what this means is that we must first establish our sense of self. Before we do anything else, we must first establish who we are. Before we do anything else, we must first establish our state of being. And then allow your state of being, to come forth in your expressions. We clearly see that if we first establish love as a state of being, then our loving actions will proceed from it. Isn't that the key? To establish love as your state of being, so that your loving actions will proceed from that state of being. So what is this love? What I would suggest to you that love is a state of being and can be addressed in these 3 steps. First of all, it can only be entered into through your inner silence. You have to first be quiet. You have to become quiet so that you can then listen to what your being has to say. Your being houses your loving presence, but you must first become still to allow your being to speak. Second step. What happens when you become still? When you become still, your being reveals itself to you. Your being reveals itself to you as a knowing, as an illumination, as a consciousness, as a light. You can simply sit in this light, in this presence, as long as you desire. This light, this knowing, this illumination, this consciousness is the inner light of your being. The third step. I suggest to you that love is the movement of the light. Love is the movement of your light, which means, first of all, that love is a feeling of how you will respond to life from the light. Love is the first movement of the light. Some like to call it the Holy Spirit. Wonderful. Love is simply the energy, a way of proceeding, guided by the light. Love is the energetic state of your being. It's the dynamism of your being. And then when it comes to fruition, when you're able to truly express it, no matter what you're doing, what joy, what happiness comes. For, as Matt Kahn would say, whatever is arising, you are loving that, because love has become your state of being. Love has become your state of being. It's how you respond to everything in life. And to me, as sincerely as I can say it, to be consciously in light and love is the goal of life. This is foundational. Love has often been called the glue of the universe. Well, quite frankly, it's the glue of my life. Love is filled with so many things. Life is filled with so many things you have to know and things you have to do. But what cuts through all of them is to do them in love. From love, from the light of our being, from the love that is now becoming your state of being. Let me now address two events in the life of Jesus, one traditional and the other one from a teaching in A Course of Miracles that address this notion of living life from love. First, the traditional teaching. Oftentimes we read in the Christian scriptures how Jesus, in a sense, went off by himself to pray. So what do you think he was doing when he went off by himself to pray? May I suggest the following? Amid all of the turmoil that was going on in his life, by being this prophetic teacher, I believe that Jesus, in his humanity, needed to take his prayer time so that he could keep his life in perspective, just as we need to do it. I believe that Jesus went into the essence of his being to keep his purpose and his perspective up front in his life, just as we need to do it. And that he needed to embrace his purpose in life with love. I believe that he needed to embrace his purpose in life with love. I believe that you and I need to do the same thing, to embrace our purpose in love, in life, with love. Life can easily become unglued. This is not true. So easy to allow the dramas of life to unsettle us. We need the glue of life to keep our lives together. I suggest that the honest glue of life is the love that is within us, that comes from the light at the center of our being. The glue of life is the love within us that comes from the stillness of the light. The glue of life is this love that has, for many of us now, become our state of being, so that whatever arises, we love it from the light that is within us, because it's the only thing that works all the time. Is this not becoming clearer and clearer to you? With this understanding, let me now address an event in the life of Jesus that is presented in the Course in Miracles. The event was his crucifixion. Very, very interesting notion. There are many interpretations of the meaning of the crucifixion, from the simple fact that, well, Jesus was crucified by the Romans, plain and simple, and that was that. Two, the fundamentalists believe that Jesus shed his blood to atone for the sins of humanity. The understanding, however, that makes the most sense to me is the one presented in A Course in Miracles. The Course in Miracles teaches that the meaning of the crucifixion is that no one lies outside of the sonship. No one lies outside of the oneness, which means that, well, everyone is a child of God. Everyone is one of our brothers and sisters, even when our brothers and sisters seem to be persecuting us as they did Jesus. As Jesus says in the Course, he has given us an extreme example of being persecuted, people putting you to death, to teach us that everyone is still the child of God, even those who are doing the persecution. This was very, very, very clearly apparent when Jesus was able to share with us his classic words. If you want to call them forgiveness, that's fine, but I think they're more classic words of understanding. When he said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." He was able to love what was arising in his life. I believe these words are not addressed to God so much as they are to us. For us to understand that many people are just caught in love. They do not have a love that is operative in their lives. That just because they don't, it doesn't mean that we will not be loving. This notion of understanding love is the final comment that Jesus makes concerning the crucifixion from A Course in Miracles. Jesus very simply says, I think you know the words, "Teach only love, for that is what you are." Teach only love, for that is what you are. That's the truth. We have to learn not to deviate from the truth. Why would you? When it works every time. In conclusion, there are a few more things that I'm going to be mentioning concerning love, which I will finish next week. But for now, love God with your whole heart and soul, mind and strength, and your neighbor as yourself. Do whatever you do with love. Whatever arises, love that. Teach only love, for that is what you are. But may I add, isn't love the only thing that feels right all the time? Let me now take you into meditation, and what a joy it is to do so. We're doing this together right now. So whatever is arising, we are now going to be loving this. Let's begin, therefore, as we normally do, by simply focusing on the breath, just breathing in and breathing out. And as we do so, allow the breath to do what the breath does, to be able to settle our bodies, reduce the chatter of our minds, and to bring our soul to the fore. Please begin. What we are now going to do is to follow those 3 steps that I outlined in the teaching. Let's begin first of all by becoming quiet, becoming still, and going within. To assist you to do this, I simply ask that you place your hand over your soul space, the top of your sternum, your breastbone, thymus gland, and put your attention 2 or 3 inches into your body so that you might come to understand that your being is within you. It is within your soul space that is within your physicality. It's not extraneous to you. Would you just focus on quietly moving into your inner being? As you're doing so, are you noticing that there is a presence within you? It's not the little you. It's the presence of being. Just take a moment to notice this. There is something of which you are conscious. This presence within you, your being, reveals itself to you. It reveals itself to you as a light, an illumination, a consciousness, a knowing. This light houses all of the principles and values of life. It's the light for your life. All you need to do is to pose the question. Ask for a direction. And or sometimes it will simply speak to you as an intuition to get on with your life. Love is the movement of light into your life. I'll say it again. Love is the movement of the light into your life. Let's put it into the larger framework. Your being reveals the light that guides your love's expressions. Being, light, love. You better add a fourth component: being, light, love, and joy, strength, and happiness. At the end of my talk today, the teaching, I said that love is what feels right all the time. Two things. Would you notice how you feel right now? It's the vibration of love. It's the vibration of love that you're now feeling. We're expressing it together. The second thing, if you fall out of love today, would you do yourself a favor and get back into your love?
I honor thee. Deep within, peace resides, faith abounds, and love abides. The light shines bright to illumine love without, love within. I honor thee, I honor thee. Namaste, I honor thee. I honor thee. I honor thee. Namaste. I honor thee. When you are where you need to be, within that space, I honor thee. Seen through eyes, an illusion, seen through spirit, we are one. I honor thee, I honor thee, I honor thee. Namaste, I honor thee. I honor thee, I honor thee. Namaste, I honor thee. Namaste, I honor
What an absolute joy just to share this teaching with you today. Don't you just feel good? We should. How about today, each one of us, that whatever arises, let us love that. Oh, and then see the result. Namaste.